Hello, it's time for some more 7 Deadly Sins, and this week provided us with some greatness. Of a different kind, you might say, because last week we obviously saw how Diane was somehow affected by Melascula's trickeries, and we got to see how that turned out this week, and to some extent I did kind of predict what was going to happen, but by no means did I predict this with pinpoint accuracy, just a few bits here and there. So let's just go into this chapter, shall we, because while not that much happened, the things that did were pretty fucking crazy. So right away we see how Diane is clearly affected by the vengeful spirits as they possess her, blood comes out of her eyes and shit like that. I mean, you just know, like, Diana is about to fuck some shit up, right? And sure enough, she just goes in without hesitating at all. Even Escanor is going in on Diane to try and stop her, and even he can't handle this. I'm guessing the time of the day is not in his favor to actually match Diane's current power, so yeah, he's just being all like, oh, I'll be gentle with you, and so I can't mess up your face because you're a woman, and she just clobbers him with absolutely no intention of playing the good girl. And even Gauther tries to reach Diane's actual self by entering her mind, which seemingly works by the looks of things, but the vengeful spirits are quite resistant, so before anything can actually be done, Gauther is broken out of that state and smashed up good as well. So I mean, Diane is pretty much soloing the Deadly Sins at this point, and this is kind of what I meant when I said that I sort of predicted this outcome in last week's review, because I said that Diane is going to be doing some major damage and that they might consider that having to almost kill Diane is the only option. I mean, obviously King is not a fan of this idea, and who could blame him? I mean, no one actually wants to see their lover get put down because of being possessed, So he tries everything in his power to get her to stop, and Diane mistakes King for a fucking football or a soccer ball if you're an American, and just sends him flying. And the helmet of Helbram is actually what keeps him alive, pretty much. Yeah, so needless to say, this chapter was wild as fuck. Following Gauther's failure and him telling the spirits that he won't let them do what they want, they just start playing dangerous games with Diane's body as they start to cause harm to her body. Like, these spirits don't fuck around, and I mean, this is just how Melascula wants things to turn out, I imagine. She is, after all, one of the 10 commandments and has a sick sense of humor. So to her, Meliodas' friends hurting themselves is probably a delight, and Meliodas can't do anything about it unless he breaks free, which he hasn't been able to do yet, so at this point he's just a spectator, and since the spirits are seemingly fueled by his negative energy, he needs to keep somewhat calm, and he seems to be calm enough if you ask me. I mean, the thing is, if Helbram hadn't stepped in, Diane would probably have gone a lot further than she did. So in this chapter I have to say that Helbram is the MVP hands down, and I'll talk about him in a minute because his part in this chapter was absolutely huge, especially to people who like King, because we see how the helmet just begins to float, and obviously he's very much visible, at least to the vengeful spirits, since they're all really dead, but I imagine no one else can actually see Helbram's body, but I could be wrong. I find that to be quite a nice detail if I'm right, to only have the spirits be able to see Helbram, given that they are dead and Helbram is also dead. He's just a spirit who lives within the helmet that King was given. So Helbram's part in this chapter, as I said, was freaking huge, because while it only really worked as a mean to save time instead of the intended purpose, which was to actually calm all of the spirits down by seeing Helbram, their killer, a number of them just went, fuck you Helbram, you think this is enough basically, and we're just gonna keep fucking shit up. But to me, just seeing Helbram sacrifice his very last lifeline was amazing, because the only thing that even keeps him around is that helmet, and he willingly puts himself in harm's way to try and get Diane to stop attacking everyone, and as a result he even asks the spirits to kill him where he stands or flies, I guess. And Diane just crushes King's helmet down to scrap metal, and that marked the very end of Helbram's existence as we know it. It really does put Helbram and King's friendship in perspective, because they were like the best of friends regardless of what happened in the past, since we did find out that Helbram was actually being controlled that whole time. So to see Helbram just give up his entire existence so that King and Diane could actually have a happy life together, it's really quite something. The very last thing I want to touch on is of course Elizabeth and Elaine's appearances, because I think most of us readers could see this coming based on the chapter's title. I literally said that this was going to be happening last week. Elizabeth would purge the spirits from Diane's body, and yeah, I mean, she's now back to normal, most likely very exhausted, I imagine, both mentally and physically, since she kept resisting the spirits in her mind, I'm guessing, based on what we saw with Gauther. And we also had the fact that Diana was attacked by Escanor. Even if it didn't stop her, it most likely had an impact on Diane's physical condition. So yeah, Diane sure has had quite a run already, and they haven't even made it to Camelot yet. Next chapter, seemingly called Love is the Strength of a Maiden, which I'm guessing is referring to Elaine, since Elizabeth represents the goddess and Elaine represents the Holy Maiden. So we're going to be seeing something, I'm guessing, from King's sister, but I do wonder just what it is going to be, because I have no idea what we might be seeing in the next chapter, to be honest. Hopefully it gives us more screen time with Meliodas, like seeing him go up against Melascula's tricks more directly, but I'm simply not sure. I mean, Elaine herself was revived by Melascula, so I'm guessing that if Melascula goes, Elaine will too, but I'm not really sure, to be honest, because I don't actually know how her magic works in that detail. Regardless, if that is the case, then Elaine will most likely be doing everything in her power to help for as long as she can, and on top of that, she actually gets to be at Bond's side till the very end. Anyway, I'll be ending the video here, guys. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I'll see you soon.